Welcome to Sosin classes, Economy through Vocabulary series. The word we are going to see today is fiscal deficit and fiscal policy. Look at the word fiscal. It means finance, financial. What is a fiscal deficit? What does the word deficit mean? Deficit is when you have something less, right? So what is less here? When we talk about income and expenditure of the government, and if the expenditure is higher than the income, we say it's a deficit. It's a fiscal deficit of the government. India, because we are a developing country, we are bound to have a fiscal deficit. It's okay to have a fiscal deficit as long as it is under control. So the fiscal deficit is, of course, when we have a deficit, we borrow. But then the borrowing is not, when we borrow we get money, that is not part of income because you have to repay that money. So to be very precise, fiscal deficit is your income, your expenditure, right? But the income does not include the borrowings. So when expenditure is greater than income, we call it as fiscal deficit. What is the permissible limit? When can we say that the financial health of the country is good? That's when the fiscal deficit should be between 2 to 3% of GDP. However, the target we have for this financial year is around 3.4% of GDP. Then over next year it would be moving on to 3.2, and then we need to keep it at 3%. That's fiscal deficit. Fiscal policy, it's a policy, right? What is this policy related to? How the government should manage its income and its expenditure. So how it has to primarily, how the expenditure, the income in the form of taxes and so on, so that the policy, the objective of this policy is that it should ensure that there is stability in the economy, there is growth in the economy, there is a stable economic growth and so on. So it is a very, very macroeconomic policy. What do you mean by macroeconomic? The aggregates. You're talking about the overall performance of the country. So fiscal policy is an extremely important policy which gives direction to the government on how to manage its income and its expenditure. And this policy has an extremely deep impact on the overall performance of the economy. So the monetary policy and the fiscal policy, both these policies are very, very important government policies. As we discussed before, monetary policy controls inflation. Therefore, how does it control that? Through money supply and interest rates. The fiscal policy is there to control the deficit, the fiscal deficit, which is, we were talking in terms of expenditure, that is spending, and taxes is an income of the government. So these two policies, the fiscal policy and the monetary policy together, are very, very important government policies which helps or which guides the economy of the country. Thank you. Keep watching for more videos on sosinclasses.com.